My name's Stuart Schlaifer. I am the motorcar logistics manager for Worldwide Auctioneers, and I am from Auburn, Indiana. I was born in California, grew up in Texas, and I've been in the Fort Wayne area for about 23 years. Growing up in California, I didn't really have the opportunity to be around vehicles that much. I do remember wanting to do things with my hands, build stuff. I was always taking things apart just to see how they worked. I do remember changing the oil in my father's car. Living in Texas, I graduated high school in Texas, so my first vehicle was a Mustang II, and I basically got to drive it for maybe a week. And unfortunately for me, my father had a buddy at work that needed the car because he was without a vehicle, so my dad lent him my first car. And when we got it back, the engine was blown, so that was kind of a bummer deal. But my second vehicle was a 72 GMC pickup truck, and I drove that thing everywhere. And I had to fix it, and so as I got older, I guess I liked the older vehicles versus the newer ones. They were a little more simple, and I just was attracted to them. As a lot of kids growing up, everybody wants to be a policeman or a firefighter, and since I moved to Indiana, I had the opportunity to be a volunteer fireman for about 8 years, and it was one of the most fulfilling times that I can remember in my life. I would say it was fulfilling for me because it gave me the opportunity to give back to my community, and having the ability to help someone that isn't able to help themselves, whereas we're getting called to an accident or a medical issue, along with fighting fire. And with my chemical makeup of liking the fact that everything is mechanical, or a lot of things are mechanical, being on the fire department, obviously you're driving the fire truck and you have to be able to know how that truck works and what its capabilities are. And I found that fascinating. In the 8 years of being a fireman, I started out just as a fireman, and then I worked my way up to being a lieutenant, and then toward the end of my 8-year career, I was the fire chief of our local fire department. I don't know that I can say it's one particular car. I can say that I have an era of cars that I like, and that would be pre-war, just because they seem to be bigger than life, and they're all unique, and they're not like the newer cars where you can just get in them and turn the key and they start. You actually have to have some thought into the process of starting the car. Once a car is consigned, the consignor will get in touch with me and I will help them through the process of getting their car to the auction via a transport company. Sometimes the consignor won't be with the car, so it's my responsibility once the car shows up on site to take care of that car from the time it shows up on the auction site to the time it leaves, whether it's with the consignor or with the new client. So basically I'm taking care of that car as if it was my car. So that includes keeping it detailed and making sure that it's running properly through the whole auction process. Prior to our auction, we have a pre-registered bidder viewing of all our cars, and that includes doing test drives, and the buyer will get a hold of me and I will either get them with a salesman or I will take them for a test drive of the vehicle of their choice. Working with worldwide auctioneers, I've had the opportunity to be around a lot of cool cars. I would say to date the coolest or the most enjoyable car that I've had to take care of is the Isotta Furschini. It's just a gorgeous car. I love the lines, the way it handles. For a pre-war car, I don't think it gets much better than that. One of the great things that I've been able to enjoy is grandchildren. We have 4 grandchildren, 1 girl and 3 boys. And one of the boys is really into cars, which makes me happy. And he's a Ford guy, which is kind of cool. I myself am kind of a Ford guy too. So living in Auburn, Indiana, they have regular cruise-ins. So it's really neat to be able to walk around with my grandson and share the car experience, classic car experience with him. Along with having my grandson around, a funny story, when I first brought him to the auctions, my son would get one of our catalogs, and instead of reading him a bedtime story when he was younger, my son would flip through our catalog. So it was kind of cool walking through the auction tent and him being able to name pretty much every car that was in our auction. So I thought that was pretty neat.